What is the best type of fragrance for the summer heat? Well, I know there's a lot of people, especially you guys out there, who would almost universally agree that the aquatic fragrance is quintessentially for the summer. Now, what is an aquatic fragrance? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but it can manifest in different ways, some more authentic than others. But in general, we're talking about a fragrance that is reminiscent of the sea air, of the salty water, of the freshness and cooling quality of the ocean. There could be a minerally salty aspect to it. There could be a green type of seaweed or kelp aspect to it. There could be a driftwood feel. There's other nuances that can reside within the aquatic realm, but in general, we're talking about ocean water. Yeah, as we typically do, we're talking about 9 fragrances that fall in this category all too perfectly. I have many that I could have chosen, and it was tough to narrow it down to just 9, but we had to do it to keep things consistent in this series. So we have 9 fragrances split up into 3 categories of accessibility. We have our starting category for those who are new to fragrances or are not really moving their taste forward all that quickly. You're looking for something super easy, no-brainer, that you're gonna like and everyone else is gonna like. Got fragrances for you in that regard. We have the intrigued level, which is you're not just looking to please everyone, you're looking for a little bit more interest, and I have fragrances for you in that regard. And then we have the enthusiast level. You're constantly seeking new olfactory experiences, fragrances that kind of push the boundary, that paint a picture in your mind, that inspire your imagination. Let's dive right into it. Now, I do have a few honorable mentions I need to get out of the way. I'm not gonna explain these, I'm just gonna name them off. We have the entire Aqua de Jo line. You would expect to see fragrances like that in a video like this, but they're everywhere. I know for a fact I would have so many of you guys in the comments saying,
"Dude, Orto Parisi Megamare, you have to try it."
I know, I see your comments. I will try that someday. So I just wanted to let you guys know I see you, I acknowledge you, it's on the list. You know, you guys can save your
nagging
We have the entire Bulgari Aqua line, unfortunately discontinued, but still out there. We have Millésime Imperial from Creed, almost made it into the list, but I was trying to prioritize lesser discussed fragrances, but that's a great scent. And one that I love to mention is Octanise from Unique Luxury, but I do talk about that one quite a bit, especially these days, but wonderful scent. A little bit too strong, but really nice. How did I forget this? One other honorable mention, Nautica Voyage. Nautica Voyage has most likely been mentioned in at least 11,000 videos across YouTube. We don't need one more. Let's get into the real list. At our starting level, first up is coming from an Italian brand known as Acqua dell'Elba, and they call this Classica. Classica for men. I think they have one for women as well. And you can just look at the color of this juice. This is supposed to smell like water. Now, what this smells like, if I could just sum it up in a very digestible way, it smells like a slightly stronger and more natural smelling Aqua de Jo, the original. It does smell similar. It does have this similar citrus and kind of salty aquatic feel with this muskiness that reminds me of some other designer fragrances. It does have an almost mainstream feel in terms of the personality, but in terms of the structure, in terms of the components, very natural smelling. You do get this authentic, almost ambergris, like salty, musky, airy quality, very fresh, very clean smelling, but all of what I just said, it's in the starting category. It's meant to be easy to wear, and it is. So that's one to consider. Acqua dell'Elba, Classica for men. We got a cheapy classic here coming from Tommy Bahama. Currently the only fragrance I own from the house. I used to have a couple others back in the day, but they're just kind of boring. This is one of the more interesting ones. Granted, not the most natural, granted, not the most inspiring fragrance, but decidedly a little different and a little bit more definitive. This is Set Sail St. Bart's. And this is less natural smelling aquatic, very fresh, watery, with a little bit of salt, with some lime, and a little bit of a synthetic tequila note. That's actually very pleasant in the air, doesn't last all that long, but for the time that it's on your skin, it's really nice. It just comes off as a very fun aquatic, a little bit of sweetness in here, a little bit kind of like pool party vibes during the daytime. It's just a fun scent, but I wouldn't call it juvenile. There is a little bit of sophistication. Tommy Bahama Set Sail St. Bart's. From Precious Liquid. Maybe not overtly an aquatic, but when you wear it and you smell it around you, there is a very distinctive quality that is reminiscent of the sea. This is called blue agave. Honestly, this is kind of in the vein of the Tommy Bahama we just talked about, but way more natural smelling. The agave brings this very realistic herbal sweetness. It's almost a little creamy in a way, but it is quite fresh, a little salty, aquatic air, and woody. On the skin, this dries quite woody, and honestly, it's a pretty sexy facet about it. My wife goes crazy when I wear this. It's one of the few fresh fragrances that when I wear it, it's not just like, oh, you smell nice. It's,
oh my gosh.
yeah, this is good stuff, guys. Do check this one out. Precious Liquid Blue Agave. Really special for being so easy to wear. Okay, into the intrigued category for those who are interested in more interesting things. First up is Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum. Honestly, when I first smelled this, I didn't love it. It was a little strange to me, but I was digging my nose into it, which I never advise as a way to make a final assessment on a fragrance. But as I gave it, oh, it's in the air. As I gave it a full wearing, I started to realize, oh, this is great. It just has beautiful depth and dimension to it for being an aquatic. It's kind of a dark aquatic. It reminds me of the smell of deep ocean water. And honestly, the more I wore it, the more I'm like, you know what? This is a very easy fragrance to wear. It's interesting, but I don't see it being polarizing. And then I was surprised to see many of you guys in the comments saying you bought it and you're like, I don't know how you wear this. This is so weird smelling. And I'm like, really? I guess it is a little polarizing, hence why it's here at the intrigued tier. Not everyone's gonna dig this stuff. Dark, smoky, leathery aquatic. It is kind of salty and fresh and seaweedy in a way. There is almost this slight fruity tinge when you first spray it on. It's very fleeting and it kind of just blends in with the water. And overall, again, it's a dark aquatic. This is maybe a little bit more formal. You could dress this up at night, but still have a fresh vibe and be kind of an enigma. This is Kenzo Homme EDP. Amazing, if you're asking me. From Beach Giza, one of the most quintessential indie brands dedicated to fragrances for the beach or for vacation or for just tropical vibes. They do it really well. They have several approaches to it. This is one of them, one of the most authentic ocean fragrances I've ever smelled, and they literally call it ocean water. Now, for some, this might smell more like a layering option. It's a very simple fragrance. The profile is bare bones. It smells the way that it sounds. You can even look on the B-roll, you'll see it looks like there's like salt floating in there. It might actually be salt. I haven't tasted it. I'm not going to, but it does smell salty. It smells like salty ocean water, not necessarily on the brightest of days, but so authentic. I think there's some cucumber in here adding to this crisp, cooling, fresh quality. But overall, you can look at the notes and be like, all right, yeah, cool. But what does it smell like? It smells like ocean water, but in a mild way. It's not fishy, which is awesome. Super wearable if you like it. If it moves you, it could just be an easy daily wear, like something to wear out in the daytime. Or again, you can layer it. I don't really layer, but if that's what you're into, give it a try with this. Ocean Water from Beach Giza. The final fragrance in the intrigue category is a strange one, and it's one that I'm pretty dang sure most of you have not tried nor even heard of. Jeez. This is coming from Guy Laroche, from the makers of Dracar Noir, the Cougar Magnet. We have Horizon. Oh my gosh, this stuff is interesting. I have to warn you, if you get this, and it's very cheap these days, especially on the discounters, if you get it and you spray it on paper or on your hand and you smell it up close, I'm not kidding you, it's gonna smell like some kind of kitchen cleaner. Like it does have slight pine sol vibes, but you can tell there's more going on. It's like a complex pine sol. There's a lot going on in here. As typical with a lot of 90s men's fragrances, they're very complex. So there is a pine quality, lots of pine, lots of bright, crisp, fresh aldehydics, but behind all of that, it is kind of aquatic. It almost smells like you're smelling the ocean air next to a pine forest. There's a lot going on here on the skin. It dries way better than it smells up close. Again, I'm warning you, it's gonna smell a little chemical. Not cheap, but just harsh. There's an element to it that is very, very striking. The pine, I'm pretty sure, plays a big role in that. So let me know if you guys have tried Horizon. If you haven't, I'm gonna have links to it down below along with every other fragrance we're talking about for those who are intrigued. Horizon from Guy Laroche. This is so much fun. We're on to the Enthusiast tier, final tier, and we have some of the heavy hitters. We have ones that are really not going to be for everyone, ones that I definitely recommend you sample first. These are not blind buy safe fragrances. If you're going to blind buy anything in this video, it's not these three, but this is one of my favorites. Oud Mineral from Tom Ford, unfortunately discontinued, I believe for the second time in its lifetime. It was discontinued, they brought it back in this bottle, it was discontinued again. People just aren't really about it. Now, similar to what I said about Horizon, do not get this, spray it on your hand or paper, smell it up close and say, I don't like it or I like it. That is the worst thing you could do. Honestly, on paper, up close, it smells like you took a Sharpie and you just like covered this entire blotter with Sharpie and you're smelling it. It kind of has that vibe, I'm not kidding you. But I'm blending what I'm smelling here with what I know to be my olfactory's memory of the scent. It is a dark aquatic, similar to the Kenzo. Doesn't smell like the Kenzo, but it does have a dark smokiness. It smells like a piece of driftwood floating in the Pacific Ocean during a storm. It is a dark type of salty, kelpy, minerally aquatic, woody freshness. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. When I would wear this is at night during the summertime, dressed up. The more you dress it up, the more authoritative and intentional it comes across. Otherwise, it just can smell a little strange. But if you love it, then forget all of what I just said and wear it whenever you want. Because if you love it, you'll wear it with confidence. It will come across as intentional. That is Oud Mineral from Tom Ford. Up next is one of the most unique aquatic fragrances I've ever smelled. If you look at the note breakdown, it does not look like an aquatic at all. But when you spray it, it is undeniable. However, it is an incense aquatic. There's something cooling and kind of dusty, smoky about it, but still fresh and almost a little salty. This is Lineage from Amouage. Don't be fooled by the bottle. It might look a little soft, but this fragrance is hard. This is beautiful. Oh my gosh. It's very strong. I'm warning you, 12 hours plus, easy. I could go on and on about it, but I'm gonna just sum it up and say this is a smoky incense aquatic. There is a saltiness, there is kind of a woody quality about it. In the air, it is so luxurious. It smells expensive and incredibly different. Get you a sample of Lineage from Amouage. I'm gonna have links down below. And the final fragrance in this video is coming from an indie brand based up in Canada, known as Untamed Perfumes. And this is one of their newer releases that they call Salish Sea. Wow. It's so realistic. It smells like you're on the shore of a sea. It is very calm. The water's just coming up and it's just kind of drifting over your feet. It's very cooling. There is this slight herbaceous sweetness in there. It's not overtly sweet, like a floral green sweetness. And it is a little salty as well in its freshness. Pretty transportive. There's really no harsh edges about it, but you do have to be an aquatic fan to really appreciate this because it's so authentic. It's so specific. It has a personality. Those are my favorite fragrances. If you're looking for something interesting, beautiful, thoughtful, different, check out Untamed Perfumes, Salish Sea. Honestly, all of their fragrances are like this. They are very different. They're very transportive, beautifully composed. Links down below. That's aquatics. I told myself I wouldn't do this video as a part of the series because I felt like it was too basic, but I found some interesting picks when I started sitting down with it and I said, I have to do an aquatic. What was I thinking? So I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, links to everything down in the description. Let me know if you've tried any of these fragrances down in the comments. And thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.